right, guys. My name's Jody Houston. I am the program manager of a light recycling program called Take Back the Light. I am going to talk to you today about mercury and the environment and why you should recycle lights. And I'm really nervous, so just bear with me. And if I start talking really fast, or I'm from the East Coast, so if you hear a bunch of Newfie slang come out, feel free to yell at me. Take Back the Light is owned and operated by the Recycling Council of Ontario. We are a membership-based nonprofit environmental organization whose mandate is simply the elimination of waste. Our membership is multi-stakeholder and represents supply and value chains and includes governments, institutions, businesses, industry, consumers, the public, academics, and so on. So the list is endless, pretty much. Our work falls into three main pillars: education and programs, advocacy and policy, research and pilot projects. And our current programs, besides Take Back the Light, includes Plastic Bag Grab Waste Reduction Week, which is actually coming up next week. Is next week the third week in October? My dates. If it is, it's third week of October every year anyway. And 3R certified. So we've been around about 40 years now. And our guiding values are obviously the 3Rs, which is to reduce, reuse, recycle. These have driven our actions and is the bedrock of our efforts to facilitate the efficient use of resources, to transform the economy of this linear model of take, make, dispose to a circular one, where everything that you use is actually reused and reintegrated into the production process. And the government of Ontario actually, I think it was passed, my dates get all mixed up, but 2015, 2016 now. And they're actually shifting the Ontario economy from the linear model to the circular one. So it's going to be a bit of a slow process, but it is in process. So it's very exciting from my standpoint. So let's talk mercury. And by the way, this is my attempt to make the presentation a little bit more lively. I tried to create a video for you guys, but that didn't work out so well. So this is the best I got. We all know that mercury is not good, right? And when it enters the environment, it's even worse. And in fact, less than 1/3 of mercury found in the environment is naturally occurring. Most of it is released from pollution from industry and from improper disposal of mercury-containing products like lights. Mercury is a toxin that attacks the central nervous system when ingested or inhaled. And babies and the elderly are particularly vulnerable. And I wanted to find a article that I read a few years back, but I couldn't find it in my crazy filing system. But the gist of it said that they are now finding mercury in the stool of newborn babies. So at the very beginning of life, they're already being challenged with pollution, with pollutants that can affect their overall health. So mercury evaporates slowly. Once released into the environment, it's converted to methylmercury, which is like the really, really bad kind, and it can continually contaminate the air, the soil, and the waterways, and it has the potential to travel long distances. And the way that I look at this whole thing is that we are part of the environment. We are not separate from it. So whatever we put into the environment is like a circle. It will travel around that circle, hitting the earwigs, the ants, the birds, the trees, the flowers, everything, and will circle right back to humans. So if you don't care about the environment, then you should care about human health. So mercury is toxic even in small amounts. It only takes about 3 grams of mercury to contaminate a 60-acre lake, and a typical fluorescent tube contains about 4 milligrams. In Ontario, with the most current data that we have, approximately 30 million lamps are sold into the marketplace every year, with only a 7 to 8% recycling rate. In Canada, according to Environment Canada, there's about 80 million lamps sold into the marketplace, with a 10 to 15% recycling rate. So you can imagine when the guys are out there, the contractors are out there playing lightsabers with those bulbs, how much mercury is actually being released into our environment. It's quite significant and really important that we do something about it. So what can we do? As much as my kids would think I would be the coolest mom in the world if I could turn into a superhero and go out and eradicate the world of mercury pollution or any environmental pollution in my mind, that's not possible. But what we can do is ensure proper end-of-life management of any waste material, in my opinion, but obviously today, proper end-of-life management of mercury-containing lamps. So Take Back the Light is a full-service light recycling program that is built on the principles of green procurement, which necessitate that you build into the procurement phase end-of-life management. And the idea is it's going to, one, level the playing field, and also start to shift the thinking and seeing recycling as as valued the same as performance, customer service, and cost. So this is just a little overview of the program beginnings and milestones. So in 2005, we did a 3-month pilot project with the Grand Erie District School Board, just to take a look at what was happening with fluorescent lights once they burnt out. Were they being thrown out in the trash, or what was happening to them. In 2007, that led to a 6-month pilot project with the Toronto District School Board, and that looked at the reverse logistics model and to really see if it was a good model that can be extended to other areas and ensured proper management. Then we moved on to, in 2008, to the Government of Ontario. They actually funded the development of the program and became the first participant. We then moved on to the first return to retail program, where we had a significant retailer join and was paying for the recycling from the residential sector. Unfortunately, if you recall, in 2010, there was a big deal over the eco fees, and everybody got really mad, so the government backed down from it. And unfortunately, what that meant, then the retailer was not required to pay for the recycling, so they stopped the program. Then in 2013, we added our second processor. They were audited and improved, and we have 2 to date. And then to date, we've recycled 23 million lights, and so the amount of mercury that we saved is about equivalent to a 183-pound person. So like maybe 1 1/4 of me, kind of. So if you can imagine that. Actually, I was giving away my weight, but anyway. So we work with all sides of the lighting process. We work with buyers, we work with sellers or contractors, and we work with service providers like Mr. Chemical. So on the buyer's side, we work with you. Well, we marry the buyers and the sellers and the service providers together. Specifically with buyers, we work with you to require your sellers to become part of Take Back the Light. And in doing so, they have to recycle their lights through the program. On the seller side, or the service provider, that's a value-added service you can then offer your clients. And the benefit to them then is the fact that they are, and to the buyers, is that your lights are being properly managed and all data is being tracked and verified. And the way I think about it too, because all data is tracked and verified, we, through Take Back the Light or Mr. Chemical through the program, can guarantee you 100% that your lights are being recycled properly and to the highest environmental health and safety standard. And I can say that because in 2011, we developed a stakeholder vetted standard that really set that bar high, because there wasn't any type of environmental standard out there for lamp recycling. So we developed one which ensured that 98% of a light is recycled and reused where possible in the marketplace, that they're continually meeting their regulatory requirements, and that obviously they're considering worker health and safety because it is a hazardous substance. So to date, by the in order for a processor to service Take Back the Light, they have to be audited and approved against the standard independent of us. So we don't have anything to do with it, and it's quite a lengthy process, so you know that in working with these guys, things are being done appropriately. So these are 2 approved processors, Avedis and Veolia. Avedis has a facility in Ayr, Ontario, which is just outside Cambridge, I'm pretty sure, and Veolia Environmental Services. They have 2 facilities. There's one in Port Washington, New York, and the other one is in West Bridgewater, Massachusetts, and they are now going through the audit process for a 3rd facility in Pickering. Okay, so there's 2 recycling options through the program. Your responsible, or supplier responsible, or service provider responsible option, which is the recommended, or your direct to processor option. So with the supplier responsible, it's simply they become responsible for the end-of-life management of your lights. So, or the service provider responsible. And basically, it can work as easy whenever they bring you the new stuff, they take the old stuff and have it recycled on your behalf. So you're completely hands-off. The benefit to that is that it utilizes existing distribution channels to reduce unnecessary transportation and demonstrates proper end-of-life management. The program's flexible. So you can mold it and shape it in whatever way that best fits your company and how you operate. So it's not one-size-fits-all kind of model. Direct to processors. So this is where you work directly with Avedis or Veolia, and it's as simple as we have an online form that you fill out, you click send, it gets sent to the processor who will then call you and schedule pickup, and we also get a copy. And at that point, it triggers our tracking and verification process. With the service provider or the supplier responsible model, we work with them to track your light recycling. So we get monthly reports that outlines the number and the type of bulbs sent for recycling and when. Then we get information back from the processor, and we cross-reference that and do the due diligence on your behalf and obviously flag any discrepancies. So these are some of our Take Back the Light suppliers. So I'm going to close with, I'm not sure if any of you have been starting to retrofit any of your facilities, but the Independent Electrical System Operator, or IESO, is attempting to reduce energy consumption in Ontario. So one way that they're doing this is offering rebate programs to people. And the LED rebate program is actually a pretty good one. LED lights last up to 25 times longer and uses 75% less energy. And the payback period of these are relatively quick. I asked one of the guys that I work with, and he said, you know, it could be early as 2 years, but it also depends on the type of lamp that you retrofit and how detailed, like if you retrofit the fixture or if it's just, you know, a fixture, or if it's just the light bulb, for example. So yeah, the financial incentive and payback period is based on your lighting requirements. And I will end with just a couple of things that I really want you to take home if you're going to consider doing an LED rebate. A proof of recycling is required for the rebate. So that actually kind of varies from local distribution company to local distribution company. One will accept a handwritten note versus some will actually require an actual certificate. We would like to advocate as a buyer that you require an actual certificate of recycling because you are liable at the end of the day. And to keep in mind that that actual certificate is going to take a little bit of time to get back. So don't expect to get your rebate yesterday, you know, give it a couple of weeks. Also, our program suppliers and service providers can service all of your lighting needs, including recycling, and to always make sure that you build into your procurement or service contracts end-of-life management, in this case, recycling of lights. All right, thank you very much.